Hello and welcome to all the members of the Barbarian Horde. I'm Joe. This is going to be a solo video, and today's video involves me reviewing Blood of the Serpent, which is overall a mixed bag, to say the least. The first part, the intro of Valyria is both good and bad. Bad in that there's the implication, now I'm going to be going full spoilers here, there's the implication that Valyria is to an extent promiscuous, which is not something I approve of, as Valyria was shown to be the total contrary of this sort of behavior. But on the other hand, now I only reference that because it's shown her dragging some guy off and pretty much letting it be known she intends to give him a good time. That's not like Valyria. She's a little too guarded with her virtue in a lot of ways. But this is also a virtue, as this is something that showcases the positive strength of the character, because, at least under Howard's pen, is that her chastity was also a psychological thing, as she was very guarded and would not let her guard down with just anyone, and would not let herself be defiled in any way, spiritually, emotionally, or physically, and that she would not just simply trust anyone. She was careful with who she was to allow herself to be employed by and what. That aside, she threatens to knife a Stygian, which is pretty funny, and the rest of part one is generally pretty good. It's a little confusing at times. Sterling is a writer who sometimes gets a few details confused, and by that I mean, like, it's just with combat, he's sometimes a little confusing and lacks the very clear visceral edge and straightforwardness of Howard. That said, part two, oh my gosh, this is utterly boring. Abomian Kingdom is the one that Conan ends up chasing Valyria into, but you don't really see Valyria in this part of the book because it's just Conan chasing after her, which should be interesting. I actually like stories like that, such as the Musashi novel by Yoshikawa Eiji, but this part of the story is just so dull. This is honestly one of the most boring parts of any book I've ever read. So from there, we get into Conan taking on another lover, which I'm okay with because that's the nature of Conan. The only thing is, the Abomian don't really have any particularly interesting traits. Neither does the spear wife he goes to bed with. None of them are as interesting as Valyria, who, though Sterling doesn't always get right, even he gets right maybe 45 to 50% of the time. And Valyria is always fun to see. The minute she leaves, Sterling can't keep the momentum going. It just dries up faster than the Sahara Desert, and I'm just left going, well, I'm bored. The last bit of the novel, which is about only maybe a chapter long, is the first chapter or the first bit of the Red Nails story from Conan's point of view. So Sterling rewrote it, which honestly he doesn't do as good a job at that. Overall, I'm going to actually have to rate this a 1. This is below average. This is not as good as it should have been, because the first part was really good. The second part was just, I just found myself looking away and wanting to read something else, and generally just either looking to my Kindle at Eric Wegg's book, Eric Wegg being a indie writer I've become friendly with, who has written a pretty good volume, Citadel of Swords. I have no problem shouting them out here. I'm on chapter 2 or 3, I can't quite remember right now. I also couldn't help feel impatient to read the next Conan chapters of Hour of the Dragon. So that's my rating, 1 star, just because of part 1. And of course the volume comes with Red Nails, which is a far better story. But anyways, I can't believe I'm rating a Valyria story below average. So that actually saddens me a great deal, as Valyria and Conan should be able to carry a story, almost any. Do feel free to smash that like and that subscribe button as though you were Conan taking out one of his enemies.